Giovanni is hyped. As you guys can see, we got a special guest today.
Thank you.
Dan Damasa, Mr. Guy Epic himself, going to drop some gems on us. Can you guys hear us all clearly?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Earlier, David said he was good. Perfect. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started, and I'm sure a few other people will trickle in. But today's topic is actually something a little bit different than usual, which is, talking about building a tribe online and building your brand with strong brand ambassadors and influencer marketing that can take it to the next level. Dan is been doing this for how many years now? 3 years. Yeah, and we'll get a little bit deeper into Epic, but first and foremost, you guys have probably heard this already a few times. John and I are happy to be doing our 7th one now, and each time we're trying to see how we can innovate with it and do something different. This is our first collaborative webinar, so we're excited to see how this goes and do more of these moving forward. To get a little bit of a background of what we'll be covering, it's pretty simple. We'll be talking about influencers and working with them, talking about how to get brand ambassadors to support your brand and become those staunch advocates for it. And then we'll cover some of the tools and resources that will be that you can use, that we already use, and we'll always finish up with the live Q&A session that you guys can ask any questions you might have. So I'll let John take over from here with a quick statement that Dan actually dropped with us.
So Dan was telling us, one of his mantra or things that he says, value over money, create value, and the money will come. Right, so he's kind of used that and leveraged that to build Epic into this huge lifestyle brand. And so we kind of want to give him a chance to tell his story, tell us the tools and resources that he uses, how he leverages influencers, ambassadors, and a lot of these things we actually learned pretty new because he's leveraging them in a different way.
Yeah.
So Dan, without further ado, we have Dan Damasa of Epic, Live Legendary. He's going to tell us a story and give us a scoop on his brand.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. So, kind of a backstory on Epic. I'm a adrenaline junkie, and I just simply made T-shirts for myself that had Epic on them. And countless times people would come up and ask actually to buy these shirts, and I would laugh and say, thank you. I have other little, hustles and projects, but this is my little baby. I make silly shirts for myself. Then I actually had a very funny run-in with one of the Rock stunt doubles. Right? I thought he was going to come and kick my butt, and I'm not a small dude. He's much more, much bigger and much more tattooed than I am. And he convinced me to start selling these shirts. And I knew, hey, we can be doing stuff for charity and do something different, disruptive. So in order to actually start making these T-shirts and lifestyle brands and all these products, I thought to myself, what can we do different than everyone else? And the one major key for us was we wanted a writing goal spot on our products. If you're not crushing goals, what are you doing? Here you go, John. So this is, for example, just something small. So this is our little thank you card. On the front has a place you can write a goal in, just like in the shirt I'm wearing. And then on the back there is actually a concussion checklist. Again, we actually really do care about our customers. So if we got a bunch of adrenaline junkies and a lot of them are taking hard hits to the head, well, here's a checklist. We tell them leave this in your locker or your gym bag and see if you have a concussion. So small things like that, we really wanted to create a brand, a tribe. We didn't care about sales. We said, hey, let's write down our ethos with having writing goal spots and worry about concussions and how can we help teach people how to do extreme sports and all that good stuff led to a tribe. We'll kind of go through here that now we want to say in February, we're actually our 4th year anniversary. We're having a big party in Florida, big motorcycle event. And it's been a wild ride. We learned a ton, so I can't wait to share with you guys.
Awesome. I mean, really from today's goal, what we're going to try and tell is like a few tips that you can take away from this, and mainly focusing on brand advocates and influencers because it's still a topic that a lot of people can't really grasp and get their heads around. So we have an actual example that we can show what has worked, what hasn't worked, and really dive into these different techniques that you can use. So the first element would be the influencer marketing. I think it's the biggest aspect of this, and John put this together, and he definitely has a little bit of experience himself, and then we'll go with that and we'll talk about how this can work out for you.
Yeah, so we've broken it up into 3 steps, as David mentioned. One is working with influencers. We're going to start with that. we essentially went to Dan and asked him some key questions about how he gets influencers, how he differentiates himself from the competition in regards to getting those influencers. So influencer marketing is not a science. Test and repeat. You want to work on partnerships versus shout-outs as you need to build brand equity and trust with the influencer database. So Dan, I don't know if you want to get in and kind of do a deep dive, but
sure. No, it sounds good. So I think David's the one that randomly chose this photo, and actually it's a great example because I know these guys on a first name basis and we're really close. And as you see here, these two guys are motorcycles, and this is a huge motorcycle ride. And these two guys are from the pack. They're both really well-known stunt riders in the community. Now these guys, I'm not trying to put them down. They don't have 2 million followers. They don't have 200,000 followers. Well, as you can see, they literally are the front of the motorcycle pack, which is a big deal. And they have their gears. They were doing stunts. So this comes to that bullet point of trying to see what your lucky number is how many followers you want your influencers to have. These guys, even though they don't have a huge social media following, they run the pack. They're well known. Now, if I was going to get some good-looking guy or girl who has 200,000 followers to just do a quick shout-out, I would have never gotten that same type of traction as these two gentlemen you see here. But the key here is that, almost like an equation, there's a couple things that lined up. So I kind of, as I mentioned earlier, the brand was built just for myself, no one else. But then you find people like these guys here that have the same type of lifestyle. You know, the shirt represented it, the social media represents it, and so when they're wearing that, they can tell a story better than I ever can. And I hate when people ask me, what does my brand stand for? I say, no, go on social media, go ask someone wearing the shirt. We all have the same kind of end goal, just living legendary, but everyone writes their own story. So as you can see here, 8,000 to 80,000 is probably my sweet spot when I personally go out and look for influencers. If you're trying to reach out to a Kanye West or someone with 4 million followers, first off, financially, you're not going to move the needle enough without going broke, and it's just not. They get thousands of offers a day. If you find someone who maybe runs a store in your niche and they're allowed to wear that shirt, that's huge because they're seen as an expert in that community. So that's the first thing that I have a lot of luck with is actually going smaller. And I'd rather have smaller influencers and have a better relationship with them and then just one and done and try to use the big guys.
Yeah, we have AJ asking if you just focus on Instagram or you also use other platforms.
I personally use them all. The big thing with me is we made sure we had diet on every single social media site. I think that's huge. If you're having trouble with that, go get the trademark, that'll help. So Instagram was literally how we got our first month we went global in sales because of Instagram. It was a huge, immense tool. The algorithm is changing a little bit, and every day it's still like new social media is popping up, so you need to be on them all. But I highly recommend grab no more than 3 of the 15 social media platforms and just own it. Just be on all of them, but own 3, make a name for yourself.
Yeah, and I think that, so yeah, he's asking if Instagram was more effective.
It was. Instagram was absolutely, because think about how, like I was a big Twitter guy, and on my business life, I'm always on Twitter. And just think about if you use on Twitter, how much kind of garbage. It's just like text and links and memes, and Instagram always wanted to have the clean images. And our followers are so amazing. They're jumping out of planes in Dubai and getting our logos tattooed on them. Such amazing extreme sports that they told that story, even if you just click hashtag #DieEpic. That's probably one of the most things I'm most proud about is I cannot control hashtag #DieEpic. We all can't control our hashtags. So I tell people, go look at the 60,000 photos people have done on their own. They weren't paid to do that, and that's the story. So I think Instagram was huge for that. Now, I'll tell you what, Snapchat, even though, yes, people are starting to move off Snapchat, Snapchat's really powerful because there's no filtering. You get your message out to all of your followers, and that's one thing sadly Instagram is getting away from.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is it depends on your audience too. Like in this specific situation, you have adrenaline junkies, which always are seeking for an adventure and experience. And text, it's difficult to kind of put it in text. So a platform that's text-based like Twitter wouldn't be as effective in getting that message across. You want to see the video. You want to see the photo of people jumping out of airplanes. It says it better. So I think in this case it makes sense for you, but there are other industries where a Twitter or something else that's a little bit more a different platform could work for your audience. I think the next step here would be talking about brand ambassadors, which is a little bit different than the influencers because these people don't really have a lot of followers necessarily, but they're the ones that are going out and talking about your brand, wearing your clothing, and kind of like giving a good name for it out there. So a little background on that. I'll let John cover this slide.
So we want to give Ben, of course, the the most leverage in regards to how we're presenting and kind of get his feedback. So all this content is based on his input and then our ideas as well. So in regards to establishing brand ambassadors and actually collecting that information, first thing you want to do is leverage a virtual assistant or your own skills to search for influencers manually with specific criteria and place them in Google Sheets. So to break that down, and I'll let Dan take over, essentially you want to create a spreadsheet that has a bit of information as headlines, right? So you want to have the Instagram tag name, their followers, their average engagement. You also want to have some type of contact info. Usually they'll have their email or some type of way to contact them on their Instagram. And then once you do that, you can outsource that job to a virtual assistant for a few bucks an hour to go and do all of this research for you. And then you can go ahead and elaborate by emailing and contacting them directly. So then the next step, Dan will go ahead and explain and break it down.
Yeah, so as far as the ambassadors, one thing I do want to mention, as far as looking externally for them, also think internally. Every one of our customers, as soon as you purchase something from our site, we kind of turn you into a brand ambassador. We have a tool, which we'll cover later, which will allow them to get little credits and stuff if they refer their friends. Because again, we all know, real recognize is real, we say, right? So if one of your friends buys a shirt, loves it, and puts on social media and starts raving about it,
Yeah.
that is organic or free. But then that tells a much better story than you see sponsored, and it's fake person trying to hawk a shirt or any other product. So that's absolutely perfect for us. What's the last one?
Well, you got here for what, the notes or?
When you receive all the collateral.
Gotcha. Now, as far as when someone receives it, now we've had good luck. I have seen other brands will literally give you a big contract, and that contract says, hey, once you get our merchandise, you have 60 days. You have to give us 3 shout-outs, blah, blah, blah. And that is the exact opposite of what I do. Some of our biggest, well-known social media stars, there is no contract. I tell them day one, this is a relationship. Either we're all in or we're out. And that just works so great for me but yes, anyone can pay money. There's corporations that have a whole lot more money than all of us. But if you can add value, even when I just had a blog or company just get acquired, and I asked them, because I thought it was too small, how did this happen? They said, because I always added value. So a quick example of this is, so let's say you have an ambassador who's going to be going to, in my case, a big skydiving event. What we can do is actually make a Snapchat geofilter, maybe mention it to them or let them know so they can go around and show their friends at that event, like, hey, how cool is this? And that little thing just shows that we have the little guy's back, and that's what really works with our ambassadors.
Yeah, and I guess you can also give that an example of, you've done that with another influencer as well, right? With Shawnee, and creating the Snapchat filters for him in different situations, which is great for, they get to promote themselves and they also get to promote the brand, and they feel like it's a mutually beneficial thing. So there's always, a few pros and cons to it, but I think, did we mention about not paying for influencer databases? Because that's like something that people are always trying to, I had someone that came up to me and was asking me about email lists and stuff like that. I think this is a similar situation where, you think that you could just find all this information because someone says they have it and it's valuable, but you say it's not really as valuable.
Oh my God, I've tried them all. There's one I kind of like named famebit.com. That was purchased by Google, and that one I like because you can find YouTube stars. And that's kind of neat because only for more like SEO backlink reasons. And anything owned by Google, I'm going to admit, I always go that route first. But there must be literally 1,000 influencer tools, and they are horrible for a bunch of reasons. First off, I can tell that these platforms aren't vetting them. And also, it's a disconnect. Now it's just commodity. It's just like how much money you have here you can get. And I keep going back to that relationship, add value. A lot of times, kind of on the same note, is if there is a middleman or a woman, if there is a agent, get out of it, bail, because again, you cannot make that one-to-one relationship if you're writing emails that's going through someone and they're taking a cut as well. So I highly recommend the simplest way to do this is go on Instagram, put in your favorite hashtag, maybe hashtag GoPro. Go look at the top 6 squares up there. They're usually the biggest people, and just reach out. If you get 1 out of 6, you did good, and then you can just keep going through hashtags in your industry.
Good. We have some examples here of some of the brand ambassadors that you.
And the bottom right one is from like yesterday.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. What's the number count on the amount of people you've seen? Because there might be some that you haven't even seen that have actually gotten a tattoo.
A lot. I want to say we're probably around like 30 or 40.
It's crazy.
And it's crazy. When you guys filmed last month from the exact same seats, and you were talking about how we're going to collab on one, and I didn't know what we were going to talk about, so there's a lot of things I could blab on about. That exact night, I saw on social media a girl actually shaved her logo into her head.
Wow.
We had a new tattoo. We had our first parachute. I mean, that's a wingsuit. These customers were paying thousands of dollars for these things above Randolph. These guys are like families. So we had a parachute request, and that's when it hit me. Like, yeah, we're going to talk about the tribe and branding on the next one. So, they say real recognizes real. I like to say epic recognizes epic. I met a lot of these guys and gals at events and on social media, and just one-to-one, they see that we're authentic. We're not saying anything we're not, and they just love it. They brought us in like family, and they want to tell the world about what we stand for.
I think another thing to point out, because now that I look at it, you can tell that there's different segments. Like you said, adrenaline junkies and people who are like adventure travelers and stuff maybe, but what are some of these segments? You know, you see skydivers and motorcycle riders. Are there any other segments that we haven't like really touched base on?
So many.
Fitness too, right?
I can't figure it. It's so broad. I almost hate it because I wish I just sold dog shirts and I've got for dog owners. But we had someone competing for Top Chef, and they would just like be at the studio or something, and they're like, "Oh, die epic." And we've seen people that are trying on our goal tag, so that's a whole other.
And a rapper too. Don't you have a rapper?
Got rappers, and people use the goal tag. Like I was thinking, okay, for mine are like, hey,
You show them the gold tag.
oh yeah, there you go. I should show my shirt.
This is like what's on the bottom of a shirt, guys, and you can basically write your goal in at the bottom.
You also have the gym bags too, and other stuff. It's on a lot of the products.
Keychains. That's why I expected things like mine, like I don't know, go 10-1 in the boxing ring or lift 1,000 pounds, whatever it was. I saw, stop smoking, finally quit my job, get financial freedom, things like that blew me away. So I thought we were this adrenaline junkie brand, and we weren't. But again, this comes back again the fact that I don't like to tell the story. These people, these ambassadors will tell a story way better than you ever can, and everyone has a different version of it.
So now we're just going to jump into the tools and resources, which I feel like these people are definitely going to be more interested in because, this is your bread and butter of how you actually made it come to life. So if you want to go through some of these, John, you use some of these too. So
yeah. You want to start with Lead Dino?
Sure. So Lead Dino is huge. This is basically what will take your ambassador program or idea and bring it to real life. Currently, I am on a Shopify platform on most of my sites. This works beautifully with Shopify. It's just an app in the market. And what they'll do is they will provide a unique link that I can maybe give one to him and one to him. And as they share it from their email lists or friends or Facebook, that's what will automatically track who's getting sales, and then we'll pay out a small cut. There was a bunch of beautiful things that came from that. That's all it was supposed to be. And I thought, okay, go after big influencers and get them to help us get our name out there. But as mentioned, turning our customers, the small soccer mom who bought a shirt for her at the gym, to give her that unique link is awesome because people, I didn't even expect that. And they were a big wave of sales, people telling their friends. And then the other really cool secret about this is, as any brand or any business, you're going to hit up with free products all the time. I don't care if someone wants a free website from you, or they want free T-shirts, or they bought their GoPro, now they think they're the next Tony Hawk. So what it was is Lead Dino was awesome because we're a brand based on accountability. And I could say, hey, we understand. Why don't you, it's a gluten-free program. Go in there, help us get some sales, spread the word. We'll give you free product. And it took care of that too. Very cool.
And Iconosquare is mainly used for Instagram analytics, but what's that specific report that you pulled that you looked for?
Yeah, so there's a exact report is actually an exportable report. I think once a month or you do as much as you want, but it's on hashtag. And one of my big takeaways is, come up with the hashtag, go get 1 million people to use it. And the Iconosquare is the one tool that'll help you do that. But the really deadly thing is that when you make that report, it'll show you everyone who used hashtag #DieEpic or your hashtag, but also shows how many followers they have and what posts they used on. So imagine having your assistant or your virtual assistant, your salesperson, marketing team, take that list, go contact them. They've interacted with your brand, so they know who you are. They like what they're seeing, and they have a big following. So go reach out.
And then with Google Suite, if you're not using Google Drive for all of your documents and storage, we highly recommend it. One, it's totally free up to about 15 gigs of storage. So you can store up to 15 gigs. And what Google Suite will do, or Google Apps, what it used to be called, you can create spreadsheets in there. You can create Google Docs, which are like Microsoft Word. You can create presentations. All of this content is on the cloud, so you can share it and collaborate with it. So all the presentations that we do, we use that collaborative software under Google Suites called Google Slides. And then with the spreadsheets, if you have virtual assistants or someone building all this content, you just give them access to your spreadsheet, and they can fill that information. So it's a great way to kind of organize and stagger your content.
Cool. And then Stencil is another one for what, graphic design or creating?
Yep. Basically social media graphic design. So whenever people say they love my site or brand, I get red faced. Please do not think I have any talent. I did not draw the logo. I use stick figures and bar napkins. So tools like Stencil will help you take a simple image, get it on social media, start getting that traction, and just, you're trying to grow that hashtag following. So it's nice and simple, easy to use.
So, and then the last one is Team, which is, I guess it provides all these different contest ideas and different ways to like kind of generate buzz and get some leads, I guess, right? Getting some people on their email list.
Yeah, there's a ton of ways to use it, but at the end of the day, brands usually use it to collect email addresses. And let me give you an example. They're called welcome mats. You go to the website, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be this one pop up and ask you for your email address for a newsletter or a tiny coupon. Well, with being a disruptive brand, we didn't want to use that, so we found this cool lead. And being that charity is a big proponent of our brand, what we could do is say, all right, you saw how amazing those photos were on our Instagram. We'll take 2 athletes, not tell them at first, pin them up against each other, and say, hey, you guys get to pick which charity gets all the money from this. And then we'll do a shirt for it. It's a big, fun competition. Again, all that accountability. And meanwhile, when people are voting, you're collecting your email address. And we even took it a step further. Just people who entered could win a $100 bundle or stuff like that. So, yes, there's a lot of ways to get the email address, but what a cool way. We're actually, at this point, helping charity. We're getting our ambassadors to have fun, challenging each other, like be more extreme, and everyone's getting involved. They have a chance to win the vote. It was just a ton of fun and really spoke to our brand.
And I think the goal with this presentation, I guess we'll go to the final notes and one of the announcements, but first and foremost is that this is not a science. Like, you had to do a lot of A/B testing and trying what works, what didn't work to get to this point. And there's never really been, has there ever been a point where you were like, all right, this is my formula and I'm going with it?
Absolutely not. You want to cry because you'll spend $800 or something on a big collab promotion, and then it does absolutely nothing. And then you'll do a $2 one, and it'll make you a ton of money, and you kind of want to cry because you're so happy. But if someone, please write in if you know the formula. But I've been trying for years, and we've got good traction, but it's a numbers game. You never know someone's following, how they're going to promote you, all that stuff until you actually get it going.
For sure. And then definitely what you mentioned about the hashtag, like finding a hashtag that represents your brand, not something that's like overused or something like that. Like, you have to find something that resonates with your brand and then own it and get, like you said, thousands, if not 1 million people to use it, so that you can really start building and see how they take something that you created and start spreading that message and align with it. So I think that's a unique one. I know that with Lincoln's Beard, we do that with hashtag Weird the Beard. And I've seen it with other clients. And when you really focus on that, it's how you make that social campaign really turn into something that's a little bit more. And then last but not least, going back to that statement you said, like value over money. You definitely want something that's about, no matter how much money you put at it, if you don't provide any value, if you don't actually go the extra step, this is not going to give you the fruits of your labor, like you would say. So those are pretty much the parting notes, and we wanted to open it up Q&A, but we also wanted to announce that we're going to have our first meetup in 2 weeks here in Miami. So any of you guys that are down here, you can come visit us. We'll be at Lincoln's Beard Brewing, and it's there in Westchester. The address is there below, and you can RSVP with that link. It's bit.ly/levelupmeetup, and you'll be able to sign up there on meetup.com. And we'll be there, all 3 of us, along with a few others.
Come have a beer with us.
Yeah.
Bring questions.
Bring your questions. We'll be there to answer them and to have a discussion just like this, but in person. We wanted to make this a little bit more, we're real humans. It's not just like people behind the screen. So with that said, we'll let you guys, and if you're not part of the Facebook group, please do join. That's where we really have this conversation and continues beyond the webinars. So we'll let you open it up to Q&A. I know that you guys have a few questions, including AJ, that we didn't answer some of his. It says, Facebook, I think Facebook is something, if depending on your brand, you definitely have to have a budget for Facebook. It's not the kind of thing that you can come in and create a profile anymore and just post and hope that you'll get traction, because you need to pay to play with them. So if you're going to use Facebook, it's very effective if you have a budget for ads and you do it the right way. So you just don't go on there and think that you're going to post a lot and get a lot of followers.
Just said, what's the best way to find a hashtag not overused, play it out, and effective? You can do a normal search and all that, then elaborate, but on Instagram or Twitter, one, you want to have a hashtag that differentiates yourself, but not too long. So I recommend max 10 to 12 characters, right? Because you don't have something that's extremely long that people can't remember. And then what you also want to do is vet your hashtag. So go on Twitter, go on Instagram, do a search for that specific hashtag. see how many people use it. If it's 5 people in 2012, okay, that's viable. You could probably use it. But if it's a hashtag that has 1.2 million usage in the last year, then it's something that you might want to change up.
Yeah, you're not going to dominate that. There's no way that you're going to be able to come in. It's going to get mixed in.
I'm sorry, you're doing that.
No, I was going to say, the only thing I would agree is, which made it really cool for us, is we took a screen grab when there was 0. I think there was 2 people using hashtag DieEpic. One was in South America, one was somewhere else. We actually wrote out to them, we gave them free shirts and had fun with it. But now that, you know what I'm going to blow that screenshot, put it on the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
So do that, and then it's fun. I hate to say this, but I can guarantee if you get 1 million people using your hashtag, you'll absolutely be a millionaire. I will absolutely guarantee you. You come yell at me if not. But if you chase that, how many people have your brand tattooed on them? Like, if you chase those things, trust me, the money will follow. And that's just what worked for us, because that keeps you authentic.
Cool. I see Alex join us. Alex, what up? Thanks for joining, man.
Yeah, so if you guys have any other questions specifically related to influencer marketing, to building brand ambassadors or anything along those lines, even outreach, we have a few people typing, so we'll wait for them. Yeah, I think it's a powerful thing right now. The thing is that there's so many influencers out there that it's a little bit saturated, and you can easily see the ones that are now just fakes, really.
And even with influencers, like, too, it's affecting SEO. So just a quick story while everyone's typing. So we had a client, they sell subscription e-commerce boxes, right? So essentially, they were doing Instagram shout-outs through kind of like, there's like a secret society on Instagram with these different Kik Messenger apps, and it's kind of crazy. But they were doing that for about 2 weeks straight, and then I was looking at their SEO, like, wow, we went to 1,000 organic hits to about 8,000 organic hits in 2 weeks. And then once they stopped the influencer marketing, it kind of dipped back down. So influencer marketing is now kind of changing the way we do SEO in regards to driving that massive traffic. And it's kind of this organic traffic, because they're doing an actual search for your company. They might not necessarily type in your specific domain.
Yeah, and that's interesting to put, because like a lot of people think of SEO as just like keyword and putting out content and all this stuff, but it's like, since it's so changing these days, that you have to look at the other sources that can contribute to it. Exactly. And influencer marketing could definitely be one of those. So we have.
That's a great question.
We have one here. Well, there was one before that I want to cover. So, what are your thoughts on hashtags on Facebook? I don't believe in them. If you can use them, you can use it if you're going to use one that's your brand statement one, and you just want to like keep the campaign going or something like that. But don't expect people to use it on Facebook or for it to like blow up as a result of using it on Facebook. Yeah, it's more of like an accent or like something.
Yeah, and Facebook has the search graph, which is their search engine, basically like Google, and hashtags are kind of they just cheapen your content on Facebook.
Yeah, for the most part. Especially if you put a whole hashtag cloud, that's just
they just think you're pushing your Instagram content to Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll take out the hashtag cloud. If you want to include one hashtag, go for it. But I don't think it's probably best to just leave it out for the most part. Other question would be, how would you use influencer marketing in B2B? I think that's pretty straightforward. If it's an influencer that's in the business setting, that's already a professional, and they can be an ambassador or someone that represents your brand. There's a lot of brand evangelists out there. It's just retooling it and doing it a different way. Maybe I know there's a lot of like Zipkick has a lot of ambassadors. There's a few other companies that do it, but in B2B, it might be more difficult because it's a little bit different. But LinkedIn's a huge B2B platform. Facebook is becoming a B2B platform, and having people that have a presence within a business community in your industry is just the way to go about it. I'm not sure about any databases or anything that you can look up to find those people, but I think it's more within your industry. People in aviation, finance, all these other things. So it's a similar setup. It's just a matter of finding those individuals. I don't know. Have you dealt with any of that?
What comes to my mind when I hear B2B and stuff like that is I like quotes. I mean, taking a customer who's happy and just literally getting them in front of everyone, using your budget to take that person and kind of use them as an influencer, because you see their logo. Because I'm in a little bit in the B2B world on some other projects, and for me, B2B is collecting logos. It should be like NASCAR, your portfolio, and how can you show the world your proud portfolio of all these corporate logos. So that's just kind of what comes to mind to me. Who's got the best logo that I've already worked with that's happy, and then let's put that budget to getting that message out, and they'll be down for it if they really enjoy your service.
Yeah. And Dave's asking, what's your approach to tracking down influencers in a specific market? There really is no like silver bullet for that one because each market has. I know that like the aviation industry has a lot of people on Twitter, surprisingly. So I would actually look on Twitter and find those people that are using hashtag AVGeek, hashtag aviation, all these other sub things that I only found out because I had a client within the industry back in the day, but otherwise I would have never thought that. So it's a little bit of a trial and error in trying to find what platforms this industry really resonates in the most. For the most part, you'll find it, I guess, on Instagram, and it has better search tools than Facebook, in my opinion. Twitter has good search tools as well, but it's a little bit difficult. So, hey guys, at first it's good to use common hashtags. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you could go and bundle up some hashtags, but I don't think using the most basic common ones like hashtag happy, hashtag beach, hashtag boy, hashtag girl, like those are not gonna like get you followers that are really relevant to you. That's just so broad that it's anyone could use those hashtags.
Yeah,
you get me?
And also, like Dan will probably answer better than I can, but just with specific hashtags on Instagram, for example, adrenaline. If you type in adrenaline, a lot of times Instagram will serve up suggested hashtags that are similar. You want to go after hashtags that don't have a ton of people. So if it's been used 47 million times, that means it's being updated so much that not a lot of people are going to see it. But if it's been used about 50,000, 60,000 times, you'll be able to have that top position for at least a few minutes.
Yeah, and the other thing that I used to do was whenever I was looking for bloggers or influencers, I would use that hashtag that I thought was useful, find them, and then go to their post because they usually are the ones that put those clouds and see what they're using because they've probably been the ones doing the work already. Like they're trying to get the most followers, they're trying to get the most attention. So I would go through those clouds of hashtags and go through them and see which ones, how much have been used, stuff like that. And that way you're able to, it's a little bit more manual, but like you said, you either do it yourself, have someone on your team, or hire a VA. But there is some manual work to this. I haven't found a platform that really does the hashtag thing effectively yet, but I'm sure there are some out there.
Yeah,
Topsy used to be one, I think.
I really like what you got to say here, because again, my pain, which is I hate saying that, is that our brand is so big. So drift car guys have completely different insights and passions and hashtags than the off-road guys, and we have an Instagram page for both. So we'll have to go find someone who takes it more hardcore than I do. Like you said, I go through their posts, and you can find gem of hashtags just by doing that. The other thing, which is awesome, is I have a little idea. I'll tell you what, if you have trouble finding a hashtag, well, come out to our event. That's something we can cover. You guys can come on up to the event. Let us know your name, brand, your company, what type of clients you go after, what are their pains, and we can just sit around over a nice, we can beer here, help you guys figure them out.
Yeah, H is asking how many hashtags at a time. I think Instagram has a limit, right? It's around 30.
Like 30.
And usually the most effective way, or like at least the cleanest way, is to do it in a separate comment.
Yeah, so you can delete it after.
Not as part of your caption, because it takes away from the message. Like whatever you're trying to say is going to look a little bit funky when you see a ton of hashtags that pushes it down and makes it look weird. You can still get the same effect by posting a comment with that hashtag, with those hashtags right after. And I think you have to do it within.
You got to do it quick.
You got to do it quick, just because you can't come back like 2 days later or 2 hours later and put the hashtag, because it'll categorize your post chronologically. It's gonna do it you'll show up 2 hours ago if you search that hashtag. It won't show up the minute that you hit send on those hashtags. Yeah, and this constantly changes too. So what we're saying right now could be different in a few months. You know that Instagram and Facebook is always tweaking their platform. So we'll see how this goes. And now hashtags have taken another turn because you can use them in stories and locations as well.
Yeah, locations. Sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah.
Locations have been huge. Like I'll do a post and I'll tag location, and it'll increase by 400, 500 people individually. Like usually, I'm not a huge Instagram influencer, so maybe 90, 100 people will see my story. If I tag my location, that goes from 150 to 300 to 800, and then you elaborate on that with the hurricane.
I was going to say Snapchat, that is insane. So I've got a lot of training in supplies, and I've got 80 neighbors. So I actually stayed here for the hurricane and live streamed it on Snapchat. So I can give it. I've been through Sandy and other hurricanes, so I've worked with local firefighters, so I knew all the tips to get out. And it was very interesting because on Snapchat now, you have my story, which is what you and your friends or followers see. There's also a new thing called, excuse me, so it's my story, our story. So that's where if I tag in Flamingo Towers, Miami Beach, you could click there on the map and see all their stories there. But that got real interesting because now in this our story, they're taking words from any text you put on the screen and your location. So one snap I put got like 15 different stories. And then to add to that, the best one, which I got, was featured on the homepage.
Wow.
And if you're curious, my stats were getting about I was showing these stats of screen grabs freaking out. I think it was like 3 million views we were getting. We were on the home screen of Snapchat. Anytime they showed the mayor his snap, I was a very next snap. Now, I will also say there's some bad to that. Yes, because I was wearing shirts helps get the brand out there. But when you hit that home screen of Snapchat, they take away any QR codes or anything, or snap codes. It takes away your text. They blur out as much as possible, and they don't link to you, which is such a shame. Like, give me some credit. I'm giving you all this insight, risking my life for your content. But that was really cool with Snapchat. So the more text locations recently, you can get discovered a whole lot more.
Yeah, because Snapchat for a while was a very closed network, and now they're expanding their explore features. You can search for users, you can search for topics, hashtags, and see what people have been posting. And then going back to like the location thing, on Instagram, you'll see stories of people with text. So sometimes I'll go on like the Lincoln's Beard Instagram, look at the location, and see the little bubble, and I'll click it, and then I'll see these stories that I never even knew. So people's experiences, you know, it's them like drinking a beer with friends or playing Jenga or all these other things that they didn't post on their feed, so I wouldn't have seen it otherwise. So I had to manually go search for the location and see who posted a story at that tagged location. That's another way. You never know when you can find someone that's active on social and could be a potential influencer or brand ambassador that way. These are tools and these are ideas that we've learned over the course of time, but like we're saying, these features keep coming out and they keep shifting and changing the strategy because of how it affects a platform and the way people use it. So I'm not sure if you guys have any other questions or comments.
I think there was one up.
Camille mentioned that, she had the strategy of you would post like the ... that way it doesn't show the whole cloud of hashtag, which is a solid way to do it. That way you still get the exposure without it looking too messy. So that's one strategy to do it. And I used to just save it on a note. I would get the hashtag cloud and save them all like on an iPhone note and put the dots before it and copy paste it right there, so you don't have to like manually sit there and come up with all these hashtags every time. Cool. If you guys, it is. If you guys have any other questions, we're here for a few more minutes. Otherwise, we hope to see some of you at Lincoln's Beard next. Not next week.
We post that slide again. So
good idea.
Yeah, you can check it out here. That's the bit.ly link to check it out, and we'll also be sharing it on the Facebook page as well.
Jose's typing.
Jose.
I told Jose he's got to come, man. He's all way important, but I said, Jose.
Say what? Yeah. You gotta come down, man.
If you have too many beers, you can always stay by them.
Beer and marketing, exactly.
Yes, we call it beers and brands.
Beers and brands. So,
you're welcome, guys.
Okay, cool, guys. So, if anything, looking forward to see you guys at the next webinar or at the meetup. Thanks again for taking the time out of your day to come chill.
If you don't come to the meetup, we're gonna feel disappointed.
Yeah, I want to be with you. Come on down.
I'm giving you all these free chats. All right, here we go. See you at the meetup. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Alrighty, guys. Well, have a great
call. Alex, awesome, man. Alex is actually launching his first Shopify store, so kudos to him.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, we want to hear about. That's what the Facebook group is definitely about. Like, you can take some of our tips and as well as stuff that you learn and share it in that group.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, man, we're happy to answer. We're open books, man. We're transparent. We want to provide as much value as we can, and you guys know everything that we've been doing has been free of charge. We just want to create value and help our local business owners just thrive.
Sure. Well, all right, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Take care. Stay dry. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.